all this stuff?
These rockets are packed with phonic exploding powder. It's a gunpowder detonated not by fire, nay, but by sound. Sound. It's triggered by music, namely the climax to my favorite.
What's up, guys? Benny, are you completely satisfied with the pipe bomber investigation? I certainly am not. What I mean by that is it just don't make no sense right now. How did they miss this guy for 5 years? His family says he's not a Trump supporter. The media says he is. He confessed the FBI doing this. All of his family members say that's impossible that he did this, but the FBI has the cell phone records, the vehicle license plate, all of the receipts for the pipe bomb evidence, and most importantly, the tracking of his movements that night according to the cell tower pings. They say that it is absolutely him. So Brian Cole Jr. is the pipe bomber. This, well, unassuming, spectrumy black kid, which is what his family describes him as. And there's a lot of questions. This is an incredible article from Miranda Devine that sort of explains all of it and says, like, what, like, how the hell did this 30-year-old loner who lives in his mom's basement pull off the greatest mystery known to federal law enforcement? The hell is the pipe bomber? His grandmother says he's naive, almost autistic-like. He doesn't understand a lot. He's slow, his own grandmother says. Corrupted cell data. This, after all, was the FBI's managed roundup of 1,500 supporters of President Trump. They used cell phone tracking data to put a bunch of meemaws in prison. Yet with all the technical ability, Ray's FBI somehow missed the phones used by the suspect in the vicinity of the DNC and the RNC. According to the FBI, documentation presented at the D.C. court and his arraignment, Cole's cell phone engaged approximately 7 data session transactions with the cell phone providers. But they told us that they didn't have the cell phone data. So who's lying? Obviously, Christopher Wray. That information was obtained by the FBI within weeks of the discovery of the pipe bombs the next day. Investigators found 186 cell phone numbers of interest, 130 devices of interest, so they knew who this was. By early February, according to the subcommittee, FBI agents had interviewed people associated with 36 of the 84 phone numbers, 186 phone numbers. 98 still required additional investigative steps. So they were narrowing it down. The FBI never told Congress what came of these leads. Then there was the curious tale of the corrupted cell phone data that turned out not to be corrupted at all. The claim came from Steve D'Antonio, head of the FBI's Washington field office, until his retirement in December 2022, who was in charge. This guy is also in charge and was responsible for the Whitmer Fednapping. He was assigned to Washington with 1 month before the 2020 election in Detroit, when he ran the disastrous Gresham Whitmer Fednapping case, resulted in multiple mistrials and acquittals because of FBI entrapment. D'Antonio, who has since found a job at a lobbying firm, also led the controversial FBI raid on Trump's home in Mar-a-Lago. He claims he opposed the raid, but was overruled. In any case, in 2023, D'Antonio testified before Congress claiming that the FBI received corrupted data from the pipe bomber, 3 major cell phone carriers. Couldn't find it. But that was a lie. All 3 of the cell phone carriers contacted by the new subcommittee for January 6th confirmed that they did not provide corrupted data to the FBI. The FBI never notified them of any issue with the cell phone data. Another confounding mystery in the case is that all 39,000 videos files the FBI obtained from surveillance cameras showing the suspect walking around and placing the bombs, there's not a single image released to the public that would identify the person. Why haven't they done that? All the images were low resolution, choppy. Some of them had been intentionally degraded, according to video experts and camera experts, or pixelation was added. The pixelation effect had been laid over the suspect's eyes in footage that shows him or her looking directly at the camera. So what the hell is that about? Somebody was doctoring the evidence, obviously. Diverting resources. What we know, the first few weeks of the pipe bomb investigation, FBI was pursuing leads But by the end of 2021, according to Loudermilk, the Bureau actively began diverting resources away from the pipe bomb investigation, demonizing Trump and his supporters, and extracting every morsel of political capital out of January 6th. Why? Because they knew that it would be very inconvenient if it was a black young man who was planting the pipe bombs who had, well, at the very least, connections to the Democrat Party, given his family has sued President Trump, works on behalf of criminals arrested by ICE, and are racial justice advocates. Dan Bongino slamming the Biden administration, saying effectively they engaged in a massive cover-up involving the DC pipe bomb, and we're going to prove that cover-up right now. Dan Bongino saying the administration identified him in just months. I don't know what the hell they were doing outside of targeting political opponents. It's like they didn't want to find him. What more will we learn? Here's Bongino.
Sean, I don't know what the hell this prior leadership team was doing outside of, targeting political opponents, weaponizing the FBI, destroying its reputation, embarrassing agents that are doing really good work out there, catching terrorists, CCP spies, and everyone else. It's almost like they were intentionally trying to decimate faith in institutions. It's horrifying. I don't know what they were doing. I can tell you what happened, though, when we got there. The director and I. My first meeting, I swore in, and I kid you not, probably 15 minutes later, and the people who are in the meeting know, I said, when I get in there, I want a full brief on this pipe bomber case on day one. And I looked at the case agent after getting a full brief on what they'd done, and they had done some a pretty extensive amount of work. They had chased down, I think, thousands of leads, 6,000 plus interviews had been conducted, hundreds of tips. And it still was relatively stale, the case. And I grabbed the case agent on the way out, and I said, "You're going to get me this guy. You're going to track this guy down, and you're going to find him. You're going to get me this guy. I want him." And that started what's been almost a 9-month operation right now to make sure that we could get full accountability and transparency to the American public and find this guy. And today we did. But Sean, I have to add this because this is really important. You've heard all the cliches, team effort. You hear it all the time in sports. I said it today at the presser, but I want to emphasize this. This was a team. Judge Jeanine, Deputy Attorney General Blanche, people you and I know very well, AG Bondi. You cannot do anything in the FBI without DOJ process, subpoenas, drawn paper, search warrants, complaints, arrest warrants. Who do you think does that? It's not just us. We're the investigators. They're the lawyers. So that team, from day one, I told Pam and Todd, I said, hey, Cash and Cash could not have been more supportive. He's like, Dan, go for it. They said, whatever you need. And their attorneys over there were amazing on this case. So don't just throw the team effort thing out like it's just a standard cliche. I mean it. They really did a great job.
Bongino has a good question. We all know the truth. The Biden administration intentionally abandoned their investigation. Couldn't reveal that a BLM or racial justice supporter was the actual pipe bomber. Didn't fit the narrative. They were intentionally trying to decimate faith in institutions, says Bongino. What the hell were they doing? Kash Patel says that we're going to learn a lot more about the pipe bomber and everything that transpired. But to put sort of a button on the fact that there is a media cover-up and it's still actively going on, Jake Tapper here saying that Brian Cole Jr. is white. CNN's Jake Tapper skewered for calling DC pipe bomber suspect a white man. What makes this even more hilarious is that Tapper has zero sense of humor about himself, conducts himself as the last serious journalist on CNN.
Planting pipe bombs near the Republican and Democratic National Committee headquarters the night before the January 6, 2021 Capitol attack. Brian Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburbs, is charged with transporting an explosive device in interstate commerce and with malicious destruction by means of explosion. CNN observed local and federal law enforcement outside his home in Woodbridge, Virginia this morning. Attorney General Pam Bondi gave very few details about the suspect this morning, but said this cold case has been solved.
Yep. This is getting completely roasted. Jake Tapper identified. 30-year-old white man. White. Tapper's dumb and blind? No. He's just programmed, like media narratives are, to be propaganda. They wanted you to think this so badly, and they kind of gave away the game here. They didn't arrest him because he didn't fit the narrative. Young black man with ties to Democrat activism doesn't fit the narrative for the January 6th pipe bomber and is going to cause a lot more questions. So that's what's actually going on here. And it is causing a lot of questions. We don't have remotely any good answers. Hopefully that changes. We'll see. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. See ya.